Greetings everyone, and welcome to this week's summary lecture. We're going to be talking about crafting a positioning statement, and actually I expect it really this time to be a relatively short summary lecture. This is an important part of the campaign development process, but it's hopefully not going to be too detailed, so there's that. A little reward for your patience with me while I did that very long-winded summary lecture on campaign theories. And actually, before we move on to the positioning statement, I do just want to make one quick announcement just to make sure it's really clear. For your final proposal, I don't expect you to take a psychological theory or theory of campaign behavior or audiences or anything like that and apply the whole theory. All I'm really looking for is for you to accurately take even one piece of a theory and use it to justify one or a couple of the decisions in your campaign. So again, this isn't really going to be a test on how well you understand any of those theories, but I will expect you to accurately apply at least some component of whichever theory you choose. It could be some of them that I mentioned in the summary lecture, it could be something in your book. But just so we're clear, you don't have to, the whole thing doesn't have to be absolutely relevant. I just want to make sure that whichever piece you do take, you're going to be applying it correctly. So, okay, on to the positioning statement. So as I said, the beauty of crafting a positioning statement is most of you should by now have all the components you need to do this. A positioning statement I like to think of as a mission statement for your campaign. This is for internal use. This is like for you, and if you had campaign staffers or whatever, for you and your employees, a statement that sort of guides the marketing that you're going to be engaging in as we start moving forward with this. But what it consists of is all these things that we've already done. You're going to state your audience, you're going to state the desired behavior, and you are going to bring up probably either benefits or barriers or competition, those things that we've been brainstorming in the past, and include that in one big statement that is going to sort of guide the direction that you go in from here on out when you're thinking about developing marketing materials and larger plan. Your book calls this, again, because this sort of comes from commercial marketing, a customer-focused process where what you're really thinking now is, okay, what's the package I want to deliver? What do I want my customers, or what do I want the people who this campaign's for to get? What are the goods here? Okay, so it's about boiling everything down. And you can see on page 242, and this is also exactly what I have in the worksheet that you're going to be doing. It's kind of like a fill-in-the-blank statement. We want, and then you insert your target audience, which hopefully you have a fairly good grasp on now, to see, and that's where you put your desired behavior, those behavioral goals that we've already talked about, as, and this is where it gets a little complicated, but don't worry, adjectives, descriptors, phrases, we want them to see it as healthy, as clean, as whatever you want people to see that desired behavior as being. A set of benefits, so maybe you want them to see the benefits attached to this certain behavior. You want them to see the benefits attached to breastfeeding or smoking cessation or whatever you're looking at, or why the desired behavior is better than competing behaviors. And actually they forgot barriers here, that's weird, but whatever, I'll get to that in a second. So it may be that you want to say, we want not just for people to see why this is a good behavior, but we want people to see why this behavior is better than some other behavior. So we want people to see why abstinence is better than sex, or why safe sex is better than unprotective sex, right? So you're thinking about, remember, those competing types of, it's not like competition as is like Burger King and McDonald's exactly, but in the same vein, you want to think about the competitors, that behaviors that people might choose to do instead of the one that you're recommending. This is really important though. You don't have to have all of these things in your positioning statement, okay? Don't go overboard. Don't make this more complicated than it needs to be. You'll notice there's an or there. So you need to pick adjectives, descriptors, phrases, set of benefits, or why the desired behavior is better than competing behaviors, okay? You don't have to do all of it. What you really need to think about is what's good for you and how you want to position this campaign, Okay, and your book goes through several different types of positioning behavior. Some are very behavior focused, where you're really focusing on describing what you want people to do. So if you're trying to get people to stop slowing down security lines at the airport, you want to tell them the exact behaviors they need to engage in, how big their plastic bags can be, and how many ounces their shampoo can be, and things like that. They mentioned barrier-focused position statements, where you're actually trying to really address the barriers that people might have to do the behavior you want them to do, so that if you can address that, it actually might remove the barrier. So hotlines are a good example of this. Like if your positioning statement includes something like, we want people to know where they can find help for this, then that would remove a barrier so that you can actually get them seeking out help for whatever they're looking for. Or maybe you want them to go get some sort of screening behavior for cancer or something like that. And maybe a barrier is people don't know where to do that. So part of your campaign would be addressing that barrier, and that would be in your position statement. Benefits focused. Again, a lot of you, I've been saying as we've been developing, that I don't actually think that a lot of you need to highlight the benefits, because maybe if you're doing something like exercising or healthy eating, the benefits are already known. But if you have something that maybe you've already come up with a knowledge objective that you're like, if people don't recognize the importance of what I'm proposing that they do, I'm really going to have to like sell them on the benefits, like why this is good for them. In which case, that might be something you want to put in your positioning statement, and you might want to focus on those. Remember, benefits could also be things that incentivize the behavior. Maybe they don't know they get tax breaks or something like that, and that's something that you would want to play up. And then finally, as we've already sort of mentioned, you could do something that's more competition focused, which the emphasis would not just be on saying, well, I think this behavior is really good. You would actually have to compare it to the competition and say, well, I think this behavior is superior to what's going on. Like, why is it better to eat sweet potato fries instead of, somebody should have done that campaign. I love sweet potato fries. Or, why sweet potato fries are better than French fries, or something like that. But the idea is that you would be talking about the benefit of the behavior you want them to do relative to that competing behavior. Once again, just to reiterate, I'm not expecting you to do all of these things. I'm expecting you to make a informed judgment based on the purpose and goals of your campaign. And really, what I love about writing this positioning statement is I think it'll help solidify all the work that you've done up until now, and it will give you sort of a grounded guide moving forward, so that you can keep looking back at that when you're trying to figure out, again, how you want to market certain things. You go back to the positioning statement, and it's got this it'll pinpoint the destination that you want to go to. So then you can best say, okay, here's where I want to go. Now, how do I develop materials to get there? And really, that's it. Please look at the examples on page 4 at 242, right underneath the positioning statement. I really think doing that will help you model your own positioning statement. It even some of you guys might even recognize your topic in there. I obviously don't want you to take somebody's positioning statement, but if it's similar, there's I can understand that. Again, this is the only thing you're going to need to do for the worksheet this week. It'll take a little bit of thought, and if you haven't really solidified things like your target audience yet, or if you're still debating against one target behavior versus another, it might be a little bit more difficult. But now's the time when we really need to do this. And once you do have this positioning statement in place, I think it'll make it a lot easier for us to go to the next steps of your marketing campaign. So that's it. Under 10 minutes. Under 10. Told you it'd be quick. I probably should have done it quicker, but that's not the point. It's still very quick.